The Washington, D.C. metropolitan region is growing. The area is thriving as a center for cultural, political, and economic activity. Unfortunately, this growth has resulted in increased urban sprawl. Urban sprawl occurs when cities and their suburbs grow out instead of up, and results in a community that is for the most part accessible only by car. Reports from the Sierra Club and Smart Growth America have named Washington, D.C. as one of the most sprawling cities in the United States. NASA has projected the region to grow 80% larger by 2030. Such sprawl creates both environmental and public health challenges.
And so if we have sprawl, if we develop those green fields, we're losing all those ecosystem services. And then at the same time, we're also injecting environmental consequences, like we build a lot of stuff that takes a lot of material. Getting all that material together uses up the planet's resources.
Sprawling communities also require increased infrastructure to facilitate transportation. This means more impervious surfaces preventing the ground from absorbing rainwater. It also means more people using cars to travel farther distances. This additional air pollution worsens lung function and aggravates respiratory diseases such as asthma. The Center for Disease Control has also linked sprawl to physical inactivity, excessive heat, motor vehicle crashes, mental health effects, and decreased social capital. It's clear that Washington, D.C. must address the issue of sprawl. While there is no perfect solution for this problem, Congress must repeal the Height of Buildings Act of 1910 so that the D.C. Council may revise the standards.
The Height of Buildings Act of 1910 restricted D.C. building heights to a maximum of 130 feet. Enacted to prevent fire hazards, the law no longer serves its original purpose.
With modern buildings and fire alarms and sprinklers and different building techniques and different materials, the fire hazard's different. Yet we still have the leftover policy.
This policy has forced the city to expand horizontally rather than vertically. Repealing the law so that the D.C. Council can revise the limit to allow for greater vertical growth will help the region limit further sprawl and better deal with the sprawl it already has. Allowing D.C. to grow up instead of out will reduce pressure to develop greenfields, which results in the loss of productive farmland, drains fragile wetlands, and fragments important habitats. It will also delay the spread of impervious surfaces in the metropolitan region. Vertical growth does not increase impervious surface area since it builds upon existing developed surfaces. This means we can make the city denser without creating more runoff, which is one of the largest sources of pollution in the Chesapeake Bay watershed.
Stopping sprawl and growing up instead of out increases a city's density and allows developers to combine residential, commercial, and industrial establishments in the same area. At this point in time, the limited availability of space in downtown Washington has been prohibitive to the construction of less lucrative residential buildings. Allowing vertical development will create more opportunities for higher density, mixed-use areas. Such communities reduce travel time, ultimately encouraging people to walk, bike, or take public transportation.
We can have people living closer to their jobs and to shopping and grocery stores and that sort of thing. So we can get people out of their cars and have them either walk or use public transportation. So higher density is beneficial in that way.
As the suburbs have sprawled further from the city center, D.C. has struggled to extend the reach of public transportation. After halting sprawl, the city can focus on developing public transportation in currently underserved areas, rather than extending existing lines farther. This more inclusive and efficient service will encourage more people to take public transportation to work instead of driving, which will reduce carbon emissions.
The D.C. Council cannot revise the building height limit unless Congress first repeals the Height of Buildings Act of 1910. It is imperative that both parties make the sustainable choice and allow D.C. to grow vertically. This will limit further urban sprawl, protecting green fields from development and slowing the expanse of impervious surfaces. Furthermore, it will increase D.C.'s capacity to deal with the effects of sprawl that are already being felt by encouraging mixed-use development and increasing the quality of public transportation. Simply put, it's time to grow up, D.C.